Hi everybody, it's Malcolm Quinn here and welcome to our Everyday People podcast, the very first episode of Everyday People where we're just talking to local folks just like you and I in Hervey Bay and getting to know them a little bit and their journey in this crazy human race that we're all on and the things that they're doing, the good times, the bad times, their work life and making a difference in our community. Everyday People is brought to you by Prime Agents, real estate here in Hervey Bay. We thank them very much for their support. Prime Agents is one of the leading real estate firms here in the region, sold over $260 million worth of property. And if you're like most people and you might want to know what your house would sell for in the market right now, that things are really booming along, you can reach out to them at primeagents.com.au or their Facebook page. So with Everyday People, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. If you just want to hear the audio only, you can jump onto Spotify, listen to it there, or you can jump onto our Facebook page and give us a like and let us help us to grow our audience. So tonight I'm being very fortunate enough to be joined by McCrea, who is a well-known local business lady. She's had a couple of businesses. At the moment she's the co-founder of Allied Fitness here in Hervey Bay, and she's joined me to talk about what she's got happening with her business, but also her time in our beautiful little part of the world. How are you going, Ali?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, really good. Pretty excited. It's this little passion project that we've got going on here. It's just a little bit of fun. So tell me, let's go back to the beginning to start off with. So where did McCrea come into the world here in Hervey Bay?
Brisbane. Born in Brisbane, and majority of my family live in Brisbane still. But when my mum and dad separated when I was about 4 years old, me and my mum moved up here, and we've been here ever since. Moved away after school, but came back. Yep.
I hear that so much from people that I mix with in Hervey Bay, and you've got really three groups here. Ones that have been there all their lives, which seem to be the minority now, people who have just moved here, or people who lived here then moved away to see where the grass was greener and then came back because they realised that the grass wasn't really much greener where they were, and they really love living in this beautiful part of the world that offers great education, job opportunities for kids. It's lovely, safe beaches. It's got everything. Tell me about your family unit, brothers and sisters, stuff like that.
I'm an only child to my mum and dad, and after they separated, they both remarried and had children in those marriages. So, yeah, I'm riding solo, got half brothers and sisters, but, yeah, just me.
Just you?
Yeah.
But still a really strong family unit. Though.
Absolutely.
I see you on social media. I follow a lot of people on social media, but whenever I see you on social media, you're always talking about family or showing, photos of, when you get together as a group and all that sort of thing. So that's obviously a really important part of your life and probably has shaped, your attitudes to, where you take your life and how you interact with your own kids and your own family.
Yeah, it has. I had great relationships with my mum and dad growing up, even though they weren't together. And on both sides, we have quite a big family. So I think that's where that's implemented, me to keep that strong family base going throughout, Yeah,
it's a bit of nature versus nurture really, isn't it? Because I think that what you're exposed to as a kid is the values that you take through your own life.
Yeah.
And I think particularly either good or bad or indifferent, when you become a parent yourself, you think about the things that you enjoyed in your childhood or didn't, and you make sure that you want to repeat those or not. Now, your dad was a pretty famous boxer in Australia, from what I'm told.
Yeah, he was. More back before I was born, but at one point he was Australian welterweight champion of Australia, and even his brother Ernie Artango was up there as well. I don't really know, the big fights that they had, but there were a few big names I remember, like Lester Ellis, and he did some traveling with Costa Zoo, and he went to America and did some promo fights over there. So yeah, it was definitely part of my growing up, boxing sport.
Lester Ellis and and the Thunder from Down Under, Costa Zoo. There's some pretty famous names there. Of course, cost you a 10-year undefeated boxer in the Boxing Hall of Fame. So he's mixing in pretty good company there. School? Where'd you go to school?
Here in Hervey Bay. Torquay State School was my primary school, and then went to Hervey Bay State High for high school.
Was there many? Was that the only high school in Hervey Bay when you were going to school, or were there independent options or private options at that stage?
There was Urangan State High, and that was kind of like our rival school back then.
Like Greece.
Yes. And, like when there was, sporting events and stuff where Hervey Bay High would versus Urangan High, it would always be like, the two gangs would come together and battle it out kind of thing. But there was a few other schools as well. I think there was like FCAC and I think that was about it back then. So
Hervey Bay High, I tell you, has gone from strength to strength over the years. Like the government and has just dropped like $1 gazillion into that new performing arts complex over there. It is state of the art. So it's probably a fair bit different to what it might have been like when you were there. I know when I went to school, I went to Albany Creek State High School.
Oh, no.
So, we certainly chained our bikes up there during the day, for lest we should not have them at the afternoon. But things have changed a lot. I mean, Hervey Bay's a great place for education now, but...
No, it was one of those schools I think where like a lot of people looked down on back then, but over the years, it's stepped up, and the government's kind of recognised it a bit more and thrown a bit of money its way, and I drive past it now and I just think, oh gosh, we missed out, didn't we? Yeah. Oh, anyway, I didn't turn out that bad, did I?
Well, I don't even think I had air conditioning in my classrooms in high school.
No. Nothing like that. Just, the fans, and you'd be sitting out the window.
Shop? Was there a tuck shop there when you were there?
Yeah. I was really tight with the tuck shop lady, actually.
Oh, true?
Yeah. And so, like, if I was a bit low on money, she'd just, like, throw me a jaffle or something in the morning for breakfast. Enough. Bev. Her name is Bev.
Shout out, Bev, if you're still here.
Yeah.
I hope you're listening. I remember my mum used to work the tuck shop, and I don't know, I must have been real bright because I thought that I never had to pay for the food that Mum would give me when I went to the tuck shop. It wasn't until later life that I figured out that she was actually paying for it.
Oh.
Hello. But I had a pie with sauce and an orange and mango mineral water, I reckon, just about every day.
You still remember that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so we've graduated from Hervey Bay State High.
Yep.
Further education or straight into the workforce?
I studied for a little bit. I did my OP in high school, got accepted into uni, went to Townsville and studied Bachelor of Sport and Exercise Science up there for a little bit. So it kind of went a little bit pear-shaped, and, during that course I kind of realised it wasn't really that path I wanted to go down. So, a few things changed over the years. So a few different events that changed.
How did you end up? How do you get from Hervey Bay to Townsville? Love. Fair enough.
A boyfriend
that you met at school?
At Hervey Bay High, and we could not stand each other to begin with. We could not stand each other, and then I don't know what clicked.
And is this your husband now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So school romance.
Yeah. I was thinking about it the other day. Like 16 years, I think we've been together. It's like more than half my life.
Well, I was thinking about that the other day, like thinking about when people say, it's been XYZ period of my life. Well, you really can't count the first 12 or 13 years because you're just a kid,
Yeah, you don't know.
No, you don't know much about anything. You basically know your parents, and that's the only people that you know. So I think that, that's a long period of time to be together, particularly for somebody that you didn't like to start off with. Was there a turning point where you just think, hey, this is going to work out? No,
I think we both had that common interest in sport. We both played a lot of sport in high school. He was a big, footy player, and, I played netball and loved a bit of track and field and that type of thing. So, I think that's where that common interest came in, and I think you've got to have that in a relationship. So maybe that's where the spark was.
So it was his sporting interest that took you to Townsville?
Yeah, well, he got a contract with the North Queensland Cowboys after we finished school, so that's where we went. So we were there for a couple of years. He played for it was the under-20s comp,
Yes.
Toyota Cup at the time. So we were up there. He was getting paid to play football, and I started studying. So
that's not that long ago. He would have been playing with some pretty handy players that went on to play a lot of NRL games, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, we, it's such a different life after you leave school, and especially when you go to somewhere where there's, high-profile people and, athletes. And, we went up there and we met a lot of, the top NRL players like Thurston and, O'Donnell was back then, Webb. But yeah, like it was a great experience. It was really fun. I actually really loved Townsville, and we've been back there a couple of times since. So
yeah, Townsville's a nice place. We've done some gigs in Townsville, or like Sachs, really, and it's a really nice part of the world. Not dissimilar to Harvey Bay, I don't think. A lot bigger though.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Okay, so you've moved to Townsville. You've done a bit of time there, and your husband Joel's playing footy there.
Yep.
And what happens next? Where does the path of life take you?
Well, I think football was always our, one thing that was always moving us around. So after Townsville, we came back down to Sunshine Coast, where we played for the Sunny Coast Seagulls, and they were under the Manly Seagulls at the time.
Yep, as a feeder club.
Yep, the feeder club. And then we went to Brisbane for a little bit, and then we moved up to Mount Isa. So things started changing.
What a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, very different life. But yeah, the move to Mount Isa wasn't footy related. That was work related.
So in terms of your home life and your economics and also a rugby league career or a pathway into the NRL is, what's paying the bills and what's putting food on the table. Are you working as well at this time?
It wasn't really, the thing that I wanted to be doing. I think I was just more working, to live the lifestyle we had at the time. Sure. Yeah. So I guess with football comes injuries, and that's what happened with, him over the years with shoulder recons. He had some knee injuries, ankle injuries, and yeah, they don't really tell you that, like, after football, what comes next. So he had to start making some big decisions for himself, and mining was the path. So we moved to Mount Isa, and yeah, that's where it all kind of started happening.
Okay.
A little bit.
Righto.
Yeah.
So what's the next, what happens in Mount Isa that triggers off the...
Well, not many people know, but we lived in a caravan, a really, really basic caravan for about 6 months. He went up first, so he was there for a bit longer, but he lived on camp, and I moved up there and was staying in this like real dusty, dodgy caravan. But we committed to it. We moved up there to save some money, and that's where I fell pregnant with our first child. There was no way I was staying there after I found out. So, we made the decision real quick but Harvey Bay was where we were going to go back to.
Hang on a minute. Are you living in a caravan park, or are you living like...
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. Does it have a nice pool or anything like that? I've never been to Mount Isa, but it doesn't conjure up for me a holiday destination of choice.
No, definitely not. It is definitely like the miners' town. I was working for Accor Hotels at the time, and I was admin at, I think it was the McCrea Hotel up there, and they had a lot of the miners coming in and staying in those hotels. So we would book them in and book them out through their mining companies if there wasn't any accommodation on the campsites. So
righto.
It was interesting.
Okay, so you're going to start a family now, so you've decided, okay, let's retreat to the mothership, as I like to call it, and come back to Harvey Bay.
Yep. No, it wasn't planned, but yeah, that's obviously what happened. We moved back to Harvey Bay, We bought a house, and Joel stayed in the mines, but I started working for a chiropractor back here. So a little bit different, because I was always in that hospitality retail.
Had you had any
industry.
Previous medical or therapeutic experience?
None, other than what I was studying.
But you weren't actually
at the time
cracking people. You're just like answering the phones and stuff.
I was a chiropractic assistant, so I would help do the x-rays, and when they would do like the initial consults, we would go in and write down all the little bits and pieces and things that were wrong with that patient and stuff like that. It was very interesting.
I'm not going to lie, if I had any knowledge of watching someone do chiropractic work, I would be chiropracting the shit out of all of my friends just to see if I could do it.
It's, before I worked for, my boss, he was such a good boss, and I didn't really believe in it, but after working for him, I swear by, chiropractic adjustments and like the cracking and, the manipulation of the body. I think, that was when my interest for, human movement kind of, sparked a little bit.
So do you think that may have been the genesis for you in terms of your, and we'll get into your business interests in a second, but, where that sort of began for you. But any cracking Joel's neck at home for practice? Or
I did a little bit.
Oh,
I had no idea what I was doing.
He seems he only has a small limp, so...
I wouldn't do what they would do on the tables, but I'd just kind of jump on his back and hear his vertebrae.
Cool. What could go wrong? Okay, so we finished what sounds like at the right time to be finished at the chiropractic clinic. And Joel is still going in and out of for a fly-in fly. And, I've just got to say that I've been a long-term believer that being a working mum is the hardest job in the world. There's no doubt about that. Boys, if you think you've got a tougher job, line them up and let's see what they are. Because being a working mum, you are really responsible for kids 24/7, but then you've got work life as well, and then you throw in on top of that work life isn't one where you're going to work every day under the blanket of financial comfort provided by somebody else.
Yeah,
you're paying the bills out of what you're earning.
That's right.
That's a big ask.
It is, and it's tough. It's really, really tough.
So tell me about the first business that you started.
Misfit. Yep, Misfit Functional Training was my very first business I kicked off on my own. I had just finished my certs in Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. The company that I was doing my certs through, they were really I guess based around not just the fitness side, but also what to do with starting a business as well. So I found that really helpful in understanding what I wanted to do. And I'm a bit old school. I like to write everything down. So I kind of wrote down all my ideas and my business plan of where I needed to start, what did I need to do. And it kind of all just rolled out from there. And
I think that's the beginning of it. I mean, I've got a stack of friends in business, and a lot that I've seen come in and out of business, and they do things that they're interested in because it's a hobby and they like it, but there's no business plan behind it. And then they sit around thinking, holy shit, I can't understand why that didn't work. But I'm a big list person as well. I mean, I will... Most of the emails in my inbox are emails from me reminding me to do things. And every morning when I come into work, I get a fresh piece of A4 paper out of the photocopier and write down the things I want to do today and transfer over the things I didn't do yesterday. Normally they are things that I haven't wanted to do for 6 months. They've got a permanent life on there. Okay, so talk to me about just another quick question I've got for you when you're just talking about the Cert 3 stuff and all that sort of in terms of qualifications. There certainly was a period in time that I can remember that everyone was a graphic designer, everyone's a hairdresser from home, everybody's a photographer, and everyone's a personal trainer. There's got to be a lot of people out there who just say, hey, I'm Malcolm and I'm a personal trainer, come train with me.
Yeah.
Because I was fit once in high school, you know, and have zilch qualifications about anything.
Yeah. And, you know, when I did and completed my course, it was at a time where I think it was just so accessible to, you know, people, and, you know, that was the phase. Fitness was the phase. So everyone was kind of jumping on that same bandwagon a little bit. But I kind of had to step out the box a little bit and think, you know, in the area that we live, what don't we have much of? And, you know, what is something that I can bring to the table that is going to really trigger or, you know, get the attention of people in this town? Because, you know, we're not a big, you know, town, you know, we've got a particular market, I think, that a lot of people will see, and they'll make their mind up pretty quickly.
So this is the first incarnation into a health and fitness business of yours called Misfit, which, if memory serves, is this like fully pimped out trailer that was rocking around town, that had all the gear on it and all the bells and whistles. It was like, looked like this, you know, straight out of American Chopper or something. Like, it had everything that you can think of. And then you'd roll up and unwind the whole thing, and away you go.
It was pretty much like that. We found this big it wasn't old, like it was like perfect size, still in great condition box trailer that was used for motorbikes. And we took it to, you know, one of those custom build places, and, you know, we got it all decked out to like store the equipment in. And I kind of, you know, once I had everything kind of set out with, you know, a timetable and the classes that I was going to run, I'd drive to these parks and, you know, set up, and I kind of just used social media as, you know, my outlet to kind of advertise and get it out there and known to people, and people just started rocking up. It was crazy.
Did that
women, mums.
Did it freak you out a little bit? Because I know when you do something new, right, and you put yourself out there, there's a certain amount of expectation that's placed on you. All of a sudden you think to yourself, oh man, this better be good, you know, because people are coming to me and they're giving over their hard-earned. This better be bloody good, you know. Yeah. So, you know, you're lying if there's no self-doubt and self-expectation about achieving at a certain level. And then when you get a huge call-up of people to go, oh, shit.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary because you don't want to fail, and you don't want it to, you know, not you know, flourish. You want it to work, and you want it to, you know, grow. And that was, I think, the most scary thing about it when we first kicked off was, you know, is this gonna work, and is it going to be popular, and are people going to even enjoy the classes? But it did. And I think the fact that, you know, we didn't really have a place for mums to, you know, bring their babies or their young children while they could train and, you know, make it for like these women to feel good and, you know, get something in for themselves, but they still needed to have their like children with them.
How much of that do you think at the time subconsciously is a part of, you know, you catering for yourself?
That's exactly right. Yeah, that was exactly right. And, you know, because Joel worked away as well, I had to, you know, time manage myself and the kids and, you know, the business, and it was flexible enough for me to bring my children along and know that I've got other, you know, 20 other women that are coming to these classes that are, you know, in the same boat as me. So.
Yeah, look, it's there's been plenty of studies done into this sort of thing, and, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to get it right from the start. And that doesn't mean that you've got to spend a truckload of money, but what it means is the experience for the customer has to be bloody good from the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, we've all been to businesses and restaurants and things like that they open up and they call that the soft opening, and next thing they're getting slammed on socials and they, you know, crying in the soup and saying, oh, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
People's expectations are super, super high. I mean, I read an article the other day that a concert ticket now is 600% more expensive than it was 10 years ago. Think about that. Like, that's nuts, isn't it? You know, bands now are doing these big meet and greet things and stuff like that they would never otherwise do. But that comes back to people wanting a good experience, you know, when they go. And that comes down to no matter what businesses it in. It is. Okay, so Misfit's rocking along for a while. and then all of a sudden it's gone because you've transitioned into something else.
Yeah, so I guess while Misfit was happening, I was training with a personal trainer, and he had his own little private functional training studio. I can't even remember where he was at a gym to start with, and then he moved himself into his own space, and I followed, and a few other people followed too. So we had kind of this other little group happening there, and I think a year or two down the track he decided to sell, and I don't know why, but it kind of just that got my attention straight away, and I kind of thought I could kind of merge these two together, but it was very scary because it was obviously the next step up. And my business partner that I have now, she was a mum, she had a passion for fitness, and we just kind of drew each other together, and it kind of just happened. So
when you take a business like Misfit, which is essentially a mobile one where your fixed costs are pretty much your time and the investment that you've made in the equipment that you've got, the overheads are small.
Yeah.
When you go into a business where you've got rent and power and electricity and aircon and on and on and on it goes, that's a big step, because then you're committed normally on a lease for a period of time, so you're all in. At that point in time. So with your business partner, were you friends? Were you friends or more associates before you sort of got into it together?
We knew of each other, and I think that's where a lot of people, when they found out that we were coming together and we were going to take over this, little studio, they thought we were crazy. And I really think a lot of them thought we were not going to last. So
probably hoped, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see that now, absolutely. And, you think they've got your back and they're on your side, but it was a shock, because I was like, oh, why are they all hating on us, I think?
I don't think it's that. I reckon if you took 100 of the people that you call friends, I'd say 80% of them would be happy to see you die in a ditch and your business go down the drain, just so they could be the ones to say, see, I knew that wasn't going to work. And most of the time that's born out of jealousy, or they've always wanted to do something but just haven't, for whatever reason, got off their butt and done it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're in this new place, and you've forged a relationship in terms of a partnership, which is a really good one, because you're not going to each other's houses for dinner, and you're not that close at a friendship level that you can't make strong decisions in the business, which is what needs to happen if you want to push it forward. Yeah,
and I think that's something that myself and my business partner have always done. Like, we're good friends, but we keep that boundary of personal life and business life, and we've got that communication level down the middle. So we know not to step over those lines, I think, which I think has made our business stronger.
There's no doubt, and that insulates you from when in difficult times it affecting. Because there's always hard times in business. I don't care how good you're going. There's always hard times in business, and that insulates you from it becoming personal then, and affecting your personal relationship.
That's right.
If you're not, that close outside of work, and that's a super hard balance to keep if you are.
Yeah.
So that there was a huge amount of foresight, I think, on your part and the part of your business partner to structure it that way and understand what you both bring, which are probably two different things, but that's what happens. So so you've been in that 4 or 5 years now?
It'll be. Wow, it's 4 years, and in that time we've moved from that tiny little studio into like a big industrial, I guess, like. It was a shed, really, and we kind of made it our second home, and it was a bit nerve-wracking because like you said before, with bigger spaces come more overheads and expenses and stuff like that, and we knew we were ready to expand with like the size of our members and the demand for bigger classes and more classes, but just that space that we initially had, we just could not fit the people, so we knew we had to make a move soon. Right.
So the business is, for those that don't know, the business is called Allied Fitness, and it's how would you describe, how does it fit into the gym space? So for someone who's not educated very well about the health and fitness industry. You see other gyms like, say, Snap and Lifestyle, whatever, and this and that are open 24 hours. Where does Allied Fitness fit? What style of gym is it? So
we class ourselves as a functional training gym, and there's been a little bit of controversy over the years because the style of training is based on the CrossFit style training, but with CrossFit, to run a CrossFit gym, you have to have an affiliation, which then comes with affiliation fees and all that type of thing. So we can't actually say like that's what we do, but we base our style of training around functional fitness. So we use a lot of different movements that you would use in everyday life, like squatting down to pick up a baby, or pushing a heavy bag up into a cupboard. We do push press and stuff like that. So it's all meant to be based around functional movements that you would do in everyday life.
And that's a combination of what people might sort of recognise as group classes, where 30 or 40 people in a space like that can come and be involved and have some peer-to-peer relationships as well as one-to-one PT training, which I imagine is a pretty big part of what you do.
It is, yeah. So, we have a couple of other trainers that are at the gym as well, and they help run the classes. But it's just myself and my business partner, Ali, that are running the PTs at the moment. We kind of just take that on, I guess, to see fit what we can do in our own lifestyle. So we only take on the workload to, what suits us.
So in a marketplace of the size of Hervey Bay, you've gone from owning a mobile gym that just goes and caters for mums at the park and stuff like that into a smaller studio style gym, into now a bigger space in a sort of industrial warehouse style box style gymnasium, gone through COVID, grown your membership base, all while you've had bigger national players come into the marketplace and suck up 600 and 700 members. You must be immensely proud of how you've attached a business model that just seems to work, or people just want to be a part of that community. Yeah. Because it's easy to go to other places. It's easy to, people quit businesses. People think that they quit jobs, but they also quit businesses and go to other places. I don't want to go to this restaurant anymore. I don't want to buy my car from here anymore. Or I don't get this from here anymore. But with you must have a really stable membership base to see your way through all of that and grow at the same time.
Yeah, and I think because Ali and I, we've both been in Hervey Bay for quite a long time, and I think we've grown that reputation through, creating relationships with people. So especially in a town like this, where it is more about who you know than, what you know. And I think it's played a big role in the business.
You know what? So, I think that's true to a point. But the other thing I would say to you is that it's okay to know people, but unless you are delivering a quality experience, then they don't give a hang about you. They'll just go somewhere else just to be your friend. Yeah, but I don't want to come to your business anymore. So you must be doing something really, really good there. What about your own part in the business in terms of setting an example about your own health and fitness in front of the membership base? So obviously you, as I'm aware, take part in the CrossFit Open, even though you're not a CrossFit affiliate gym. Anyone can have a crack at the CrossFit Open every year and throw their $20 in and do the 5 what can otherwise be described as torturous workouts over 5 weeks. Post their score against people all over the world. So it's huge. There's a couple of 100,000 people go in it. Where did you finish in terms of ladies in Australia?
It was, I think I placed around 406 out of give or take 7,000. So
what's that?
I was pretty happy with that.
5%?
6%.
So it sounds better if you say 94%.
We'll go with that.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and like you said, I think you've got to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And, you know, you're trying to make an example of yourself. And, you know, we jump in the classes a lot of, like, you know, numerous times a week and train with our members as well. And I think that's really important because, you know, I don't think people just want to see trainers, you know, telling them what they need to do every single day, but, you know, not actually seeing them do it and, you know, do the movements efficiently and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, it plays a big role.
I think if people want to, I mean, unless you're like a fitness nut, right? Most people don't really want to go to the gym. It's a necessity for them to maintain some sort of lifestyle. So in order for that necessity to be met, the environment has to be fun. Yeah. It has to be social. And you have to have people there that are engaged with what you're doing and really care about you know, the outcomes. And the outcomes for, you know, let's say, for instance, you've got 20 people that your PT, might be more, might be less. I guarantee that almost all of those people want something different from you.
Yeah, they do. They do. It's, you know, it's one of those things where you've got to cater to each person and actually take a moment to sit down and listen to, you know, what they want. And obviously it's your job and in your scope of practice to, you know, meet their goals, but in a realistic way as well. You don't want to give them high hopes and, you know, they say, I want to lose, you know, 20 kilos in 2 weeks. Like, that's just not realistic. So I think that's part of our job to kind of, you know, educate them and, you know, make them feel good. It's not about just what they look like as well. And, you know, we've been doing this now for quite a while and, you know, we have so many different people and age groups and, you know, come through the doors and, yeah, they're always looking, you know, for something different, but we're always trying to cater to everyone's needs. So.
Yeah, look, I should also disclose that I'm a member of Allied Fitness. I've been going there for, you know, quite a few years now. And the thing that I take my hat off to you there is that going into a gym, particularly, you know, a guy of my age or a lady of my age, you know, you don't want to be intimidated by the, you know, the young blokes with the shirts off, layering and carrying on. And that's not the environment that's there. It's a very sort of family orientated situation and everyone gets along with everyone. And it's a really easy place to be, which is obviously, you know, that culture starts at the top. Yeah. So hats off to you guys for, you know, for what you've done there. Mistakes along the way, you've made a few, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think, you know, as you start to where we are now, it's just one of those things. I think it's always going to be trial and error. And, you know, we've done different events over the years. We've run different challenges. And, you know, those are the things that we're always, you know, looking back on and thinking, okay, well, for future events or future challenges, what can we change or make better and stuff like that. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, myself and Ali, we're always going to be the ones that are caring about this the most because, you know, we've laid everything on the line for this. Sure. So, yeah, I feel like there's not a day that we don't put 100% into the business, which is, it's like our baby a little bit.
Fair enough. Well, you got to be passionate about it, you know. You can't have success without it. And people measure success in different ways. But if you're happy in your work life, in your home life, and you go and do a job every day that you love, well, that's successful. And, you know, don't worry about the money. That doesn't really worry. What do you like to do outside work? So let's forget, you know, kids and the gym. What do you do? What's your go-to alley time?
Well, I play a little bit of netball, but other than sport related.
By a little bit of netball, do you mean captaining the Division 1 team to the grand final last year?
At one point I did, yes. And that was awesome. Like, we'd just come out of COVID and, you know, we didn't even know if we were going to have a team last year, but we did. And, you know, I rocked up to training one night and my coach was like, yeah, so you're going to be coach this year. And I was just like, oh gosh, more responsibility.
So you were coaching as well?
Oh, no, sorry, not coach, captain.
Okay. Right.
And it was a little bit daunting because, you know, I've always been just the player that kind of sits back and jumps on the court, does my job and then go home. but I had to step up a little bit last year, and yeah, it all kind of worked in my favour.
One of the things that I have, and then my kids, my wife plays netball, my kids have been playing netball for years, and no word of a lie, the only thing I have just figured out this year is that you don't play in age groups, that you play in divisions.
Yep.
So you would be playing with people in your team, I would imagine, significantly younger than you, older than you, like a real mixture.
Yeah. So even now, like for this season, myself and a couple of other ladies, we are the oldest on the team. So I feel like we have a little bit more to prove as well, or I guess maybe even maintain with the younger girls. So, you know, they might be a little bit faster and, you know, a little bit quicker, but I feel like we've got the skills. But
what about for the girls on your team who are younger? I mean, it must be an opportunity for you to, you know, knowing you the way that I do, to help them be better at something that they obviously enjoy. Because to be young and playing, say, Division 1, you must have some talent.
Yeah, like, you know, I think having that background of netball, you know, behind me for quite a few years, you learn a lot along the way, and you know, at the end of the day, it's like your job. You still want to enjoy what you do. So I think that's the first and foremost thing that I tell the younger girls is you got to enjoy it. So if it's not fun anymore, then you might need to reevaluate things a little bit.
What anything else? Anything non-sporting?
And interior design.
Ooh,
yeah.
How wonderful.
So last year in COVID, we were stuck at home for a few months, and I was kind of sitting there and I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I need something to stimulate myself. So I kind of decided I was going to start studying again, and, you know, jumped online and signed up to a diploma of interior design course. And yeah, over halfway now, but I think...
Because your life's not busy enough, why not take on some study?
I know, right? At the time, I thought we were going to be stuck at home for a little bit longer.
Oh my gosh, how much longer could it have been? Felt like forever. I mean, we weren't as bad as Victoria and all those guys, but
no.
I've had to wear a mask recently.
I'm not a fan.
Oh, please. Yeah, not for me.
I'm not a fan.
I'd rather stay at home.
It's finishing soon, isn't it, this mask thing?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know when.
I hope
not
so.
fast enough. That's for sure.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I really am.
It's been, but you know, I think generally speaking around Hervey Bay, people have adapted to what's happened really well, and you know, in the circles that I move in, I find it difficult to speak to a business person who isn't busy, like isn't doing well, which is great.
It is. And, you know, after, like, we opened our doors again, I think it was July last year, we are, like, busier than we were before. So we had to readapt a little bit with, you know, like... introducing an online booking system for our members and stuff, and that kind of helped with not just us as business owners and, you know, using our statistics on who was coming in, who was going out, you know, numbers, memberships, that type of thing, but it was also good for, I guess, you know, the whole COVID thing with tracking and tracing and that type of thing. So we had to kind of keep up with the times a little bit.
You've certainly lived a really interesting life so far, and of course you've got so much in front of you, and you know you should really be proud of the achievements that you've made in terms of running your own business.
Yeah,
you know, and you know that's a tough gig. You know, and then when you add all those other layers on top of it, you know, having a family to look after, and then you know a husband who's working away, that's a lot to take on. So, hats off to you, and I really thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And being our very first guest. But before you go, we might finish with a little fast 5 questions.
Okay.
Just to see, I'll make them up as I go along, and you'll answer them as the first thing that comes into your head. So the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Gosh, that's a tough one.
Is it?
It is. It's a tough, because I feel like I've had a lot of good advice been given to me over the years.
We'll just choose one.
Never say sorry.
Never say sorry. Oh my goodness. Wow. That gives me, well, we could really unpack that for a while as to why you would never say sorry. Wow. Okay.
I think that's more a relationship-based answer.
Never say. Okay. We might swiftly move on to question number 2. Okay, so if you could have one person over for dinner, dead or alive, preferably alive, it'd be more interesting, who would it be?
Will Smith.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
I just think he's just an all-round great guy. Not just as like a celebrity. I think...
You think he's Mr. Nice Guy?
I do. I feel like he's got charisma.
Well, he's an actor. That's obviously worked on you.
Oh, besides that.
Let's stay in that realm then and say celebrity crush.
The Rock. Dwayne Johnson.
Voted in a recent poll, I note on social media by Newsweek, that 48% of Americans think that he should be the next president.
Really?
Yeah,
not
true.
Kanye?
Well, Kanye's only got 50% of the money he had 6 months ago, so
True.
not Kanye, that's for sure. Yeah, The Rock. So he is American citizen, and I've asked that question of a lot of people, and many people have said that.
Really?
That said The Rock, yeah, or Dwayne.
Yeah.
I wonder if his wife calls him Dwayne.
It just sounds weird.
Well, not as weird as saying, "Hey, Rock, can you put bread and milk on the shopping list, please?" I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen. You're down to your last $20. What do you think you would spend it on?
A lotto ticket.
A lotto ticket?
Yeah. Or I'd gamble it. I would.
Why not? You could double your money and then you've got 40. Then you've got double. You've got twice as much to lose. What's the one thing, this is the last question, what's the one character trait about people that you don't know? I'm not going to finish on a negative, so we'll throw in a 6th question. What is the one character trait about people that turns you off that you don't like?
Disorganisation. Yeah, okay. I'm very OCD and I like to be organised. I feel like I'm in control when I've got everything set out and planned. And if I go into a space or environment that, there's clutter or, it's mayhem, I get a bit of anxiety.
Are all the jars in your pantry, all the labels facing the front way?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happens when your husband comes along and just puts them back wherever the freaky feels like?
I actually get a twitch.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I need to breathe, count to 10, do my control work.
Right, now let's finish on a nice positive question. What's the one thing in life that brings you the most happiness?
My family. It always comes back to family. Always.
Very good.
Yep.
All right, well, folks, that's been the very first episode of Everyday People. Like I said, you can listen to the audio on Spotify, watch it on YouTube, or jump onto our Facebook page and give us a like on there. Ali McCrea, thank you so much. Or should I say Alicia McCrea? It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're very welcome, Malcolm.
Got that in.